Hi there folks, welcome to my channel. And thank you for clicking on this video because today I plan on offering up 5 reasons why my left eye doesn't blink. But only one of them is true. You see, recently I was creeping through my comment section here on YouTube and I came across a comment. In fact, it was on my video about divorce in Germany, where somebody had left a comment just generally asking out loud, can anybody tell me why this lady's left eye doesn't blink? Now, in fairness, I know I have a very obvious physical disfigurement thing going on here. And generally speaking, I don't tend to begin every random conversation with first telling you my long list of disabilities and issues or their root causes. Nope, I don't do that. But what do I know? I'm fairly new to this disabled stuff. I'm still learning. But what I have learned thus far since becoming disabled from a brain tumor is that people are curious. And I get that. I'm a curious person too. Something else I've learned since learning to live with a few little disabilities is that, well, my coping mechanism, if you will, tends to be humor. Just as one example, if you've been watching my videos here, you will have heard me in the past make reference to my eyebrow here, for example, being a jerk because he's just lazy and he doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do. It's sort of a coping mechanism for me to kind of poke fun at my issues. And I have to say, this little coping mechanism I have of attempting to use a little bit of humor while dealing with disabilities, it may not always be a good idea for me to go that route. And if you watch to the end of this video, at the end, I'll share with you a little story where there's a tiny chance that my little coping mechanism of dealing with my physical issues I've had since having a tumor in my head may have scared the bejeebus out of a random stranger. So make sure you watch to the end for that. But after reading that random comment on my video about divorce in Germany, I thought perhaps I should make a video about it for anybody new coming to my channel and is also wondering, what's up with that lady's face? But also, I decided if I'm gonna get these questions now in my life since this happened to me so often, I'm gonna have a little fun with it. And I invite you all to join in because today I am going to present to you 5 reasons as to why my left eye doesn't blink right. But only one is true. Let's get into it. Number 1. I had an acoustic neuroma, also known as a vestibular schwannoma. That's a rare tumor that grows for no reason at all on the nerve that transfers data that you hear to your brain. It's estimated that mine was inside of my head for many years, and while it was in there, it destroyed things like my balance organ and affected my hearing. But also, it had built itself around all of the nerves that you have leading like this to your face that help you control your face. And in order to remove this stupid tumor from my head, which, by the way, we named him before he got removed. Godfrey Pomeroy, rest in peace. But in the process of removing that stupid tumor from my head, all of these nerves, they got damaged. And for a long time, directly after that operation, I was unable to close this eye at all, and this face was it was drooping. And I mean, the most annoying, I guess, was clearly the eye in regards to my partial facial paralysis that I had from all of the damage caused by the tumor and the operation to remove the tumor. Because this eye would not close for a long time, doctors would encourage me to wear really ridiculous patches. Look at this one. That's just ridiculous looking. And I had to use different creams and drops in my eye to keep it moist and to get dust and stuff out of it. But I am happy to report that at the filming of this video right now, I'm a little over 4 years since they took that stupid tumor out of my head, and I can close this eye. I want to say that took a good year until I got control where I felt like it was closing, and it wasn't that long ago that I still felt like there was one little spot, not really going up. But my point is, there has been improvement, slow-moving improvement. But I am happy to report that now, as I film this, a little over 4 years after the removal, my eye, I can not only close it, but you'll notice if you watch my videos, it's making attempts to blink in sync with my right one. It's trying. Progress. I do not know if I will see any more improvement in this eye or this side of my face. Only time will tell. But if you're curious, make sure you're subscribed so you can watch and find out. I need to also mention here that I really do enjoy that since I started doing this YouTube thing and speaking about the issues that I've been dealing with since finding out I had a stupid tumor in my head, I have been pleasantly pleased by the response from you viewers. And in regards to my facial issues, well, I personally think it's pretty damn cool how often you folks will point out in the comment that you see improvement. That's very motivating to me, and I thank you. And sometimes you point out things that I didn't notice. So, once again, thank you. Number 2. Oh, so you want to know why my left eye doesn't work right? Well, let me just tell you something. It was a bar fight, okay? It was a bar fight, and you should see what the other guy looks like. Number 3. You want to know what happened to my eye? Well, you see, I was sent to train under the legendary master, Pai Mei. Now, some would tell you that I was a brash and insolent student, but I got my revenge upon that miserable old fool who ripped my eye out when I poisoned his fish heads. But I just want you to be aware I did not let my disability hold me back in life. Oh no. Because even after that miserable old fool, legendary Master Pai Mei, ripped my eye out, I still nonetheless, I went on to join the legendary Viper Assassination Squad. Number 4. I can tell by the way you're looking at me, you're curious. What happened to my eye? Well, to be honest with you, I don't remember much. You see, I was at a wedding, and I'm pretty sure that somebody spiked my milk with bath salts. I mean, really, that's all I can assume. It was all really kind of fuzzy, but I can tell you that as I went down, I recall hearing only the screams about something about keeping the bloodline pure and what I will call violent squalls coming from Pappy McBoyle's crow as he violently attacked my face. And you know what, folks? My left eye, it never really recovered from that bath salt-fueled crow attack on my face at that McBoyle wedding. But at least I got this. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it, you nosy bastard. Number 5. Oh, you asked about my eye? You want to hear the story? Well, I'd be happy to share it with you. It's actually sort of a Christmas story. You see, this story goes back to when I was a 9-year-old boy, growing up in the small town of Holman, Indiana. And in the weeks building up to Christmas, I went out of my way to make sure that everybody was aware of what I wanted to find under the Christmas tree that year. A Red Ryder carbine action, 200-shot range model air rifle. But I have to tell you, not everybody was keen on my wish. I kept being told I'll shoot my eye out. But nonetheless, I was persistent, meeting Santa in the mall, writing reports about it in school, and telling my mother, even though she also was really nervous, that I would shoot my eye out. Long story short, it seems the old man got the message. And sure enough, my Christmas wish came true that Christmas morning. When there, under the tree, was a Red Ryder carbine action, 200-shot range model air rifle, under the Christmas tree with my name on it. Boy, oh boy, I couldn't wait to test her out, and I headed right out into my backyard with old Blue. A great fantasy that I had, as all young boys had growing up in Holman, Indiana. I imagined me and my piece in my backyard, defending my family against the likes of Black Bart's bandits. I imagined me picking them off one by one as they attempted to climb over the fence and up in trees. And like many fantasies, my dreams were soon crushed by reality, when before I knew what happened, I shot my eye out. Now sure, it left me with some sort of disfigurement here in this here eye, but I was smart enough to come up with a story claiming it was an icicle, so that my parents wouldn't take away my trusty old Blue. So while I got left with a funky eye, at least I got to keep the gun. Burka! Well, now that I've thrown at you my 5 reasons why this eye doesn't blink right, but only one is true, or options for me to respond to complete strangers who feel the need to ask me about my creepy eye, I'd like to now personally invite you to try to come up with one better in the comments below. And have fun with it. Because disabilities, disfigurements, or whatnot, it doesn't matter. I think that all of us have at some point in our lives been in that situation where, whether it's a debate or a conversation, but where you think like 1 hour later, after the fact, you think, oh, I should have said that. I feel like so often we always come up with better or funnier after the fact. And here's the way I look at it. If I'm gonna keep getting this question, I'm gonna get weird with it. So I repeat, if you got a better story that I could use to respond to random strangers who ask me about my facial disfigurements, leave it in a comment below. I really appreciate your help. But you know, when I landed on this topic today as the idea for this video, it reminded me of the time that I attempted to return to my job after my operation to remove that tumor. This was not the best decision I've made in my life, because at that point, I was not really fully aware of all of my issues and how they would affect my daily life. And honestly, maybe I was in a little bit of denial, just hoping that any day now, they'll get better. But I tried. I was doing my best while not being able to see right, feeling dizzy, learning how to live with being deaf in one ear, and yet at the same time having a loud, constant, persistent ringing, as well as other random head pains, but also my face was really kind of hanging. It was creepy. And it didn't feel nice either. It all felt heavy. But in that short time when I made the stupid attempt to return to my exploitive job position too soon after an operation, I feel a need to verbalize here today that I was a little shocked to find, for example, how many people, some new customers but some steady customers, had just assumed I had a stroke based on my appearance. Nobody ever said that I had a stroke. But as I attempted to return to normal life and working, I had, for example, 2 complete strangers look me dead in my dead eye and just directly ask me, "Did you have a stroke?" Another, a steady customer who I really enjoyed. I had mentioned something in our conversation randomly about, like, that I wasn't moving so fast these days. To which he responded to me, "Yeah, but you're doing really good for someone who had a stroke." Honestly, after so many times of similar incidences occurring, it really, really hit me just how cold and direct some people can be with their assumptions. So when I found myself face to face with what was, I believe, the 3rd or the 4th complete stranger standing before me, staring at my dead eye, which at that moment was not closing, was not attempting to blink, and my face was kind of hanging a bit. At least it kind of looked that way, because there was, like, no muscle tone, no nerves pulling anything up. But when there I was yet again, and some random stranger was looking me dead in the eye and kind of staring at my face and asking me directly if I had a stroke. Well, at that moment, I just decided to look at her dead serious, but yet confused. I looked at her and I was like, "No, why? Why would you say that?" And at that moment, her whole face sort of changed. It sort of went from curious to a little bit nervous and then fear. But she responded with, cause your face, it's drooping." But I played that role, and I looked at her, and I was like, "What do you mean? Oh my God, what is this? What's happening?" And I threw my arm down, and I was like, "Oh boy, this is not good." And I think she peed herself a little bit. But I really quickly then did pull myself back up and go, "I'm just kidding. I had a tumor in my head." But I'm not going to lie to you folks, and quite honestly, I don't care if you think I'm evil. I enjoyed the look on her face, that little bit of uncomfortableness. From this person who felt it was completely normal to put another person in a position for them to have to just put forth private medical information. It's a whole lot of none of your business, sweetheart. But you see, not only was I sick of people just assuming what happened to me, but dead serious, really kind of shocked at the lack of class some people had when they would ask someone directly about their disabilities or disfigurements. And that's why in closing, I kind of want to say that if you ever decide that you're going to directly ask somebody, for example, about their disabilities or even any sort of disfigurement, please do not make assumptions. And please be kind, because you never know how or even if that person is coping with those issues. You need to consider that some people may have a hard time dealing with and accepting them, and they may not want to share what is ultimately private medical information. It's pretty damn bold and pretty damn rude for a complete stranger to put another person in that position where their response is going to have to involve private medical information. On one side, I understand the curiosity, but there's a fine line between being curious and a whole lot of none of your damn business. And know that anybody dealing with any sort of health issue, any sort of disability, any sort of disfigurement, they don't owe you jack shit. They don't owe you an explanation, and they don't owe you anything to feed your innocent curiosity, if that is what it is. They don't owe it to you. They owe you nothing. To flat out look at somebody and decide that you can diagnose them, what disability they have, maybe what disease they've fought or are fighting, unless you're that person's doctor, you're a dick. To assume makes an ass out of you and me. And I, for one, actually get a kick out of being an ass to people who are cold and nosy and ask personal questions. In fact, when I get to be an ass to those types, well, I get a giggle out of it. But I do thank you for being here and watching this video today. Before I go, I wish to give a big shout out and a whole lot of love to my members, people that have clicked that join button and support my channel. You're the best. But also, I really do appreciate each and every one of you that do support my channel. Whether it's through just watching a video, clicking like, subscribing, or becoming a member. I appreciate your support. I'm looking forward to reading your comments, hearing your opinions, or if any of you dealt with something similar to the topic I brought up here today. But also I'm excited about any snarky comments or ridiculous stories you can give me to use in the future. I will be coming at you soon with another video. But until that happens, I do hope that you're over there taking care of yourself.